هو اللي خرب البلد دي.
This is what destroyed this country.
يفضل المسار ده ناجح.
This path would go on, and it would be successful, and there would be a parallel successful path in the Ministry of Health. So by doing so, all the projects would be successful, and it would never be said that the resources of the state were not able to cover this program. Again to Suez Canal Fund, he told me that he has no extra money, and if he wants to upgrade the canal, he would get it from the Ministry of Finance. Suez Canal, I will talk about the new canal.
اللي هو في القرن الأول ما اتفتحت، لا اللي هو سنة 75 حتى بعد حرب 73.
The one in 1975. Since 1975 up till today, Suez Canal earned about $200 billion.
خليت المتوسط 4. خليت المتوسط ايه؟ 4. 200 مليار دولار. لو حد كان شال 10%.
If they have saved 10% of this figure and kept it in a separate fund, why did this fund go to the parliament to give it legal status? So no one can take from it according to its standards and its statute, and it of course would be audited by the state institutions and authorities. If someone saved 10% of that money,
شال 10% بس من داخل قناة السويس، كان زمان النهارده بنتكلم.
Then we've been now talking about Dr. Mustafa says 20, but I'm saying rather
وانت بتتكلم في 4 عشرات 43 سنة ولا 44 سنة.
34 years. So the 20 billion would have been now 50 billion US dollars.
يبقى أقل من كده شوية. لكن يجي النهارده يخش يعمل تطوير في القناة مش معهوش. If
he want to have projects, he won't be able to do it because he do not have money. If he wants to do community service for the 3 governorates, Suez, Port-Said and Ismailia, he does not have the funds to do so. So Dr. Mait and Dr. Mustafa said this money you are going to deduct for this fund will cause a problem. I told Dr. Mustafa, remember when you and Engineer Sharif talked to me about the Ministry of Housing and having a fund, and Engineer Sharif and the Minister of Finance said no. I told them let us do it and you will see how successful it will be. And now the Ministry of Housing has 8 billion Egyptian pounds per month. The state wants 1 million housing units annually. Then this ministry would have 20 or 30,000 or 200, 300,000.
عشان ما يبقاش اللي احنا شايفينه في العشوائيات. إذن نيجي بقى لقناة السويس.
Now back to Suez Canal Fund.
يعني مش هقول سر يعني فيها 70 مليار.
It has 70 billion.
تقول لي طب فين احنا؟ فين احنا؟ استنوا على.
You will ask what about us?
يعني طب في الفلوس مالكمش دعوة، سيبونا أنا. في الفلوس سيبونا أنا لأن هي
Let me
غلبانة قوي.
deal with the funds.
أنا آسف إن أقول كده يعني. ما كانش نحرم نفسينا ونعمل مش هتتعمل.
Because we need to do it, otherwise it won't be done.
والله العظيم أنا صادق معاكم وبقول كل كلمة وربنا سبحانه وتعالى.
I swear by God
ربنا وحده شاهد عليه.
that I'm honest, and it's only God who will hold me accountable.
ويعني يكون لي أجر الرضا على اللي احنا بنعمله. مش هينفع إن احنا نمشي.
We cannot follow the same method. We need to have funds.
وهي بتتعمل صعبة شوية.
Establishing these funds is a bit difficult. From where is this taken? It is taken from the share of the Ministry of Finance. When the ministry goes, the money goes into the Ministry of Finance, it never gets out. But if we keep it in this fund,
مش كده يقعد يعني يفرق المالية والحكومة. طب ما الدكتور مصطفى قلت له زي ما عملت فيك سيبنا اعمل بقى.
I told him, as I did with you in the Ministry of Housing, let me do it with the Suez Canal Authority. If Suez Canal Authority wants projects,
500 مليون ولا ايه؟
then it needs 500 million Egyptian pounds per month. Maybe next year it would be 1 billion, and then next year 2 billion, and then 3 billion monthly.
يبقى اعمل ايه؟ مش انتوا قلتوا لي في رقبتك؟
You told me that this is your responsibility, and I swear by God that I'm trying to do as much as I can. Again, I'm repeating.
أنا في تقديري إن الغلطة
in my opinion, as you, Lieutenant General Osama,
الصحافة والإعلام وشرحت لهم الموضوع.
told me
مش بعد ما نخش البرلمان يا دكتور.
that before referring the law to the parliament, you need to talk to the media and the people, so that people would be reassured that nothing wrong is happening.
إن كل من تكلم ممكن يكون عنده يعني مغرض ولا حاجة أو مش عارفين.
And some people are worried. From where are they worried? Because we are all fearful. We all have fear because we cannot believe that we can do. We can do. And God willing, we will do a lot.
كان المفروض إنه قبل ما الكلام ده يعلن في البرلمان.
So before discussing this in the parliament, there should have been a press conference, and Lieutenant General Osama could have talked to the journalists and the media, so that people would understand what we're talking about. If you would subscribe the Suez Canal in a stock market for Egyptians only, and the shares would be owned by Egyptians only. There is a difference between saying that this is the income of the Suez Canal, or that we have 200 or 300 million Egyptian pounds in banks. That the canal would have accounts in the banks with 100 or 200 billion. This is something totally different. Don't you sometimes say that there are projects that will be constructed and would influence Suez Canal income one day? What would that make me do? If the percentage is 10%, and we are here speaking theoretically, then I will have income. I can establish other projects and other companies with the solvency I have and the monthly revenues. I can have project not only for 500 billion per month, but more, because the project will take 1 or 2 years until it is finalized.
بس خلي بالكم يا مسؤولين وانتوا في موضوعات هتبقى وانتوا بتتكلموا يعني زي موضوع الاحوال الشخصيه كده.
Like for example the
شويه ملامح
private status law.
للقانون.
We've talked about some ideas in this law, and the elite that worked on drafting this law of the personal status took into consideration different opinions and viewpoints, because these are the people who saw these challenges and problems while they were on the bench in the Egyptian courts. But this does not mean, and we have with us here the Minister of Justice, you will have a community dialogue.
ايوه يا فندم، احنا زي ما
Yes,
تشرفنا بالعرض على فخامتك
as we
من
were
يومين
honored to
ملامح
present
المشروع
to you
بصفة عامة،
the
لكن
draft
الخطوة
bill
التفصيلية
in general. 2
هتنتهي
days ago, we
على
are
مدار الشهر
finalizing
القادم إن شاء
the
الله.
details over the
أول ما
coming
تنتهي على
month,
طول
and once we
هنبدأ في
finalize it,
طرحها للحوار
we
المجتمعي.
will have a
هندعو
community
إليه كل
dialogue,
فئات
and we will
المجتمع
invite
ونقعد ونطرح
all segments
الأحكام
of
اللي
the
وضعت
community to
والأساس اللي بنيت
discuss
عليه،
with
سواء
them the
أساس علمي
draft bill,
إحصائي
the scientific,
رأي
the
فقهي، كل
statistical
الآراء
basis,
والأحكام اللي
the
وضعت في نصوص
religious
القانون
basis.
هتطرح، وأساندها
Everything
إيه،
would
سواء من
be
الناحية العلمية
discussed
أو من الناحية الإحصائية
from the
أو من
scientific
الناحية
perspective, the
الشرعية،
statistical or the
وهنستمع
religious,
إلى
and we
وجهات
will
نظر
listen
للجميع،
to the
بحيث
opinions
ممكن
of
جدا وارد إن
everybody,
يبقى في تعديلات
and
ووارد
there
الناس
might be some
تتقبل
amendments
المشروع المطروح.
introduced.
وإن شاء الله بعد كده نتخذ
And
الإجراءات
afterwards, we'll
الدستورية في
take the
العرض على مجلس
constitutional
الوزراء
decisions
ثم
by
الإحالة
referring
إلى
it
مجلس
to
طيب
the
بس
ministerial
برضو
council and then to the
من
parliament.
فضلك انت كنت قلت لي ان احنا
You told
في عرضكم
me
ان كل الجهات خدتوا رايها
that you took the
أيوة
opinions
عشان
of
برضو
different
تبقى دي
entities.
واصله
Would you
لهم.
please say
احنا
that?
في النقاط خدنا فيها الموافقة،
We
وأهمها
took
اللي
the
هو
approval
توثيق
of
الطلاق.
different entities,
توثيق
and the
الطلاق
most
واخدين
important
موافقة
of which
الأزهر،
was the
واخدين موافقة
documentation of
الأوقاف،
divorce.
واخدين
We took the
موافقة الإفتاء
approval of
مكتوب
the Ministry of
وموقع،
Endowment,
فبالتالي
Al-Azhar.
مطمئنين تماما إلى كل الأحكام اللي
So
موجودة
we are
في مشروع القانون.
reassured about
طيب
everything
انا
in
برضو
this
معلش
draft bill.
خليني برضو واحنا بنتكلم على الصناديق
When
احنا
we talk
طرحين في
about
الموضوع
the
ده
funds,
يعني صندوق برضو مش كده
we are suggesting
فبرضو
here the
انا
establishment
بس عايز
of a
اقول لكم
fund.
ليه بنعمل ده
Why do we do
ليه
so?
بنعمل الفكره دي انا بقول له النهارده احنا مش عايزين
I told
اي
him
اسره
that we do not
وهي
want any
والاختلاف وارد مش
family.
كده
طبعا
فلما الاختلاف بيبقى
When
وارد
it's
في فتره
getting a
زمنيه
divorce,
الفتره الزمنيه دي مين يتكفل
to wait for a period until
هم زعلانين من بعض بقى
the
فبيقطعوا بعض فهم بيقطعوا بعض مش عايزين يصرفوا صح كده
the money is given to the
مين اللي
family.
بيضيع
What about the
ولادي
children?
ولاد
It's
مصر
the children,
كنا نعمل
the sons of
صندوق
Egypt who will
اللي هو
get
ايه
wasted. That's why
هيبقى
we
صندوق
thought of
دعم
having this
الأسرة
fund. It
المصرية.
would be the fund of
هذا
supporting the
الصندوق
Egyptian family.
بيتكفل
And
بدعم
this
الأسرة
fund
في
would
أوقاتها
support
الحرجة
the family
زي
at
سيادتك
its
تفضلت
critical
بيها
moments,
كده.
like the example
الدعم
you
بتاعه
gave.
هيجي منين؟ سيادتك تفضلت إن
This
الحكومة
fund
هتساهم في هذا
would
الصندوق
receive
بقدر
contribution
ما
from the
يساهم فيه
government.
المتزوجين.
يعني قلنا ايه عشان
So
بس
يعني
عشان تبتدوا برضو في الاعلام تمسكوا الموضوع
يعني قلنا
اي اجراء بنعمله
for any
خلي بالكم
procedure we do,
الناس فاهمه ان الدين بيخاطب الضمائر بس
people think that religion
الدين الحقيقي
is addressing
له نظم
conscience only.
والدوله اللي ما تخليش بالها
No,
وتعمل نظم
religion
تحقق
always
مقاصد
puts
الدين
rules,
يبقى
and
عندها
the
يعني شكل من
state
اشكال الدستور
should put rules
كلام
as
مناسب
well to achieve
يعني
the
ايه يعني لما يجي
goals of
مثلا
the
يقول لك اكرام
religion.
اليتيم
For example, we're
فانت تقول
talking
ايه
about
اكرام
the
اليتيم يبقى الدوله تاخد
supporting of
اتجاه
orphans. So the
وتعمل
state here
قواعد
need to put
وتعمل
rules
اجراءات
and
لاكرام الايه
procedures to support
اي
the
يتيم
orphans, any orphan,
عشان الناس تفهم يعني ايه دين حقيقي
so people would
مش
understand the
فقط
real
ان احنا
religion.
نخاطب ضمائر الناس ضمائر الناس ده ربنا هيحاسب عليه لكن الدولة مسؤولة انها
The
تعمل
state
قواعد
is responsible for
ونظم
putting
تحقق
rules and
المقاصد الطيبة
systems
اللي
that
دايما
would achieve
بنطلبها
the
فلما جينا في الموضوع ده قلت له
teachings
ايه
and the
طب انا
rules
هقول
of the
بنك
religion.
مصر مكشوف الحساب بتاع التضامن بكام
350 مليون جنيه.
In
اللي هو عبارة عن
the
ايه
fund we
500
have
جنيه وزارة التضامن بتديهم
500
كده فندم؟
Egyptian pounds given by the Ministry of Social Solidarity. And Dr. Mustafa might ask, why are you talking about that right now?
لا يا فندم اتفضل، ما هو مصارحة ومكاشفة وشيء طيب.
فانت النهارده تقول لك ايه يعني ايه 300 مليون جنيه
So there are 300 million Egyptian pounds in the fund of the Ministry of Social Solidarity. We found that the Ministry of Social Solidarity provide assistance to these families. So the amounts from the profits are not enough,
في مديونيه 300 مليون
and it is indebted for 300 million.
طب انا اتفرج على الموضوع ده واسكت
So would we stand still?
لا
Of course not. I said that we'll establish this fund. If you are going to get married, then put in this fund an amount.
مش اللي يقدر على الجواز يقدر يدفع المبلغ ده.
Those who can get married would be able to pay this amount.
وتقعدوا تتخانقوا على الشبكة وعلى
You fight over the wedding parties, and you might find that this is a large amount. It's not large. And I, as a state, said that we can put 1 billion or 2 billion.
عشان لما نختلف لأن القانون اللي موجود ده مقفول.
Because this law is a closed law. Why do I mean by closed is that we will do the procedures to secure the future of our children. You're talking about how much percentage. What is the divorce rate? The divorce rate according to the statistics annually.
لأن الكلام اللي اتعرض معلش مع الوزير العدل يعني الكلام اللي اتعمل
what was presented was the total cases of divorce. But I would like to tell people that even if it is one case, it was announced before that we are comparing divorce cases starting 1965 up till today to the marriages that happened in 1 year. So we are creating divorce cases over tens of years with the marriage cases over 1 year. So this led to the fact that we thought that the divorce rate is 36%, but this is untrue. So we said those who got married in this year, how many of them got divorced in the same year, and we found it's just 4.5%.
بس اكتر سنتين فيهم طلاق السنه الاولى والسنه الثانيه والسنه الثانيه اكتر
من السنه الاولى. We usually find that divorce happens during the second year and not the first year, and afterwards the divorce rates reduces. This led to the fact that when you say this, tell them that you brought specialists and professors of sociology and psychology to do these studies. Yes, and the committee that is developing the family law worked with an advisory board that has a psychiatrist, a sociologist, an economist, as well as scholars, on top of which is the mufti. Every procedure and everything in the law was consulted by them, be it regarding the visitation. Everything was based on a scientific basis and a religious basis. To put objective rules to organize this matter. Thank you. I just wanted to say that instead of holding a press conference, we already held this press conference right now. So, he said, in order not to generalize your personal experience and say this is something we need to deal with, we are talking about the exceptions of exceptions. The first exception is marriage. The next exception is the divorce. And the third exception is conflict during divorce. Some people are able to get a divorce amicably. So when you develop a law, take into consideration the exception of exceptions. So do not talk about one case as a phenomenon. Since we're talking about the 3 years, some people heard me saying that think of not giving birth during the first or 2 years of marriage. People thought that the objective is family planning. No. I was saying that because the bride and the bridegroom used to live with different families, and they moved now to a new life. They need to get used to it
بس يتفقوا مع بعض ويقدروا يتحملوا
and settle
مسار الحياة
down
لمدة سنة ولا
until
اتنين.
they
يلاقوا نفسهم
decide
قادرين
to give birth to a child.
يخشوا على المرحلة اللي بعدها على الإنجاب. لو لا قدر الله مش قادرين
If they find that they cannot live with each other, then
وعليها في أقل ما يمكن. اللي أنا بقوله ده كلام موضوعي ومنطقي ولا
the
كلام
result would be much less. Isn't what I'm saying objective? I am saying to the young people who will get married, give yourself some time to get used to each other, and there is the medical examination and the medical tests in the law
ده سلامة عقد. ده يا فندم
is a component for the soundness of the marriage contract.
سلامة قدام سلامة. سلامة شاب قدام
The
سلامة
sanity
شابة، صح كده؟ والعقد مبني على
of the young man and the young woman for the contract, because the contract should enjoy credibility and transparency. And if science gives me the opportunity to check the soundness of this contract, then I should do it. Otherwise, as a state, I would have a shortcoming. We're not here talking about the fertility or the disability. A lot of in-depth discussions took place about that, and we, the state, try to find solutions and present them to you.
يعني الدكتور خالد كان بيقول لي ان
دكتور خالد told me
بقول له كشف الطبي ده انا هخلي
about this medical examination.
الكلام ده خطر اقوله ولا لا؟ بجد والله بجد بكلم بجد. قلت له ده انا هخلي اللي يوافق لجنه
we will have a committee presided over by a judge to receive the results automated through the Ministry of Health
لحد تصريح سلامة التحاليل.
about the tests. Some will tell me you are making things very complicated. No, I'm trying to reassure the mother and the father that we have certain procedures to support marriage, because marriage is not an easy thing. It is the strongest promise and pledge. So there would be a judge and a physician who will check the medical examinations and tell the marriage minister that he can do this contract, because both of them would see exactly things and approve of the results. Some would say, aren't you worried that people would resort to other things? I tell them, before God, I explain this, and we are trying to create a path to prove the sanity and the soundness of the contract and the marriage. Is Dr. Saad al-Hilali there? He said that 1,400 years ago they were talking about the sanity of the bride and the bridegroom. But now knowledge and science developed, so I have the opportunity to see more, to the extent of saying whether there might be a problem with their future babies or not. If medicine provides that and I as a state don't use it, then I'm being unjust to marriage.
ونناقشوا فيه واللي هتتفقوا عليه.
So discuss all these things, and what you will agree upon would be what we will implement. Sorry, Ihab, I took you to a different topic, but we are seizing this opportunity to explain matters to people. So for Suez Canal, we'll establish this fund, and all these funds won't be able to get a penny out of it. You do not know me with money. The poor has nothing to do except to be aware of where he's spending his penny. The total plants in the company are 39 plants. The total plants in the company are 39, and the quick expansions on the industrial foundation in the company has reflected on production and exports. We developed the liquefied chlorine to produce 50,000 tons in 2021 in comparison to 2015, and we developed the fertilizers plants. By 2024, we will have 70,000 tons production, and we developed the fertilizers plants through the production increased from 220,000 tons to 1 million tons in 2021. And they will be 1,700,000, and the amounts produced of medical and industrial gases reached 16,000 tons and then 42,000 tons in 2021, in addition to 18,000 tons of oxide in 2021 for the first time in the Egyptian market. And this achieved self-sufficiency from some of these products and increased exports by six-folds of the exports of 2015, and increase in number of companies and countries to which we export. We are exporting now to 55 countries. Due to the state plan in developing the medical service in the Arab Republic of Egypt and supporting the universal health coverage system in all Egyptian governorates, and the 100 million lives initiative and decent life initiative increased the amount of medical oxygen produced, and through continuous follow-up from the President, we implemented all the civil works, mechanical, electric works for new plants to produce medical and industrial gases in less than 2 years. And today, Nasr Chemical Industries Company is honored that Your Excellency would inaugurate plants 4 and 5 with the capacity of 600,000 tons annually to increase our production to 100,000 tons annually, and increasing the capacity would make the company capable of providing 280 hospitals with oxygen in comparison to 135 hospitals in the past. In addition to providing the Egyptian ambulance in Cairo and Giza with 30,000 oxygen cylinders annually, and the company since 2019 and up till today is installing oxygen tanks in hospitals with a total number of 155 tanks. And to keep pace with the state expansion in petroleum industrial projects, we increased the production capacity of industrial gases, nitrogen 43,000 tons and argon 1,000 tons annually. And the supply and construction and the manufacturing of equipments and machines was done by 20 civil companies like Linda that designed and supplied the materials according to the top-notch technologies, and a number of Egyptian companies implemented the concrete, and top of which is Petrojet company. And in line with the state policy in green transition, the company established In 2019, a plant using hydrogen resulting from chlorine industry, and this reduced the carbon print of the complex in Abou Rawash by 83,000 tons per year. And today, to continue the procedures of the company towards green transition, we are honored to inaugurate the tertiary power generation plant through BOT system with European technology in cooperation with MB as a consultant of the project. And this plant is an example to apply the management of modern energy, in addition to the use of the results and the outputs of the plant for the production of vapor, and it would achieve reduction in the consumption of fuel by 25% and would lead to the reduction of carbon print of the complex by 40,000 tons of carbon dioxide annually. So the total reduction of carbon print of the complex is 123,000 tons of carbon dioxide. And let me extend thanks to the staff of Nasser Chemical Industries company and urge them to exert more efforts to meet the strategic needs of the Egyptians and to implement our new projects with the highest level of quality in the shortest time. Long live Egypt. May God protect it. And in the name of the staff and the men of the company, we would like to provide you with a copy of the Holy Quran. Let me thank them. Let us, at the end of this presentation, extend thanks to the National Project Service Company and the Nasser Chemical Industries Company for their efforts. We need you to support us and to produce the products we need in Egypt through what the company can do, like the fertilizers, the chlorine, because we are developing our wastewater treatment plants, and I think that the demand on chlorine would increase, and also support the hospitals that need to be provided with oxygen. There would be an increase in demand when we continue our plans for the universal health coverage system. So we wish that we would be able to meet the possible needs in the future. Once more, I would like to thank you, and may God protect you and beware of all the safety measures. Thank you very much. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you, Your Excellency, the President. And now serious action and dedication and continuous development at high quality would be the standard of all our national projects everywhere in Egypt. Thank you all. And now we'll go on a tour in the complex.
مستحيل عمره ما كان يقدر علينا. شوفوا مصر عاملة ايه وعدوا واحسبوا، دي جمهورية جديدة جاية قصاد عينينا. الدين والخير وهي مادة ايديها تقوي، تسوي اللي ما يعمل وتخلي الدنيا بحالها تشوف الخير.
تحية دائما مجددة لحضراتكم. نحن هنا في إحدى غرف
التحكم. We're here in one of the control rooms in oxygen plant number 5. A lot is taking place here in Al Nasr chemical industries company, one of which is oxygen separation as well as liquidation of oxygen. Oxygen comes through the air. And to know more about what's happening here in this plant, I have with me chemist Raghib Mohammed. Raghib, you are the manager of the control room in plant 5. Yes. What's happening here? Here we are able to control the production process through the control room. We here take the air, compress it through the air compressor, and then purify it through the dryer from moisture and different oxides, and then it goes through turbines to be liquidated. Then the oxygen is separated. We have here separation towers that separate the main components of air, the oxygen by 21%, nitrogen 78%, and argon less than 1%. These are the percentages of these gases in the air. Yes, without any intervention. The raw material we use here is the air. And after the separation in the separation towers, before getting in the tanks of the final product, we have the automatic analysis system. Number of cells analyze the product before getting into the tanks. If the sample is good, then it goes into the tank. Otherwise, we get rid of it, and afterwards it is stored in the tanks. As for the vehicles, we fill in the vehicles with these gases through the control room. So this is in brief what happens in the control room. Through two chemists. The first chemist is responsible for the first and the second phases of the production. Through the first and the second monitor, and then the third or the fourth phases are done by chemist number 2 through monitors 3 and 4. And we have, of course, throughout the 24 hours, the chemists, because we need to be ready for any emergencies and for the needs of all hospitals. So we work 24/7, and we have with us a team of maintenance. I have engineer Mohammed Gala, engineer chemist Mohammed Gala. We talked to chemist Raghib on the separation of oxygen, its liquidation, and drawing the sample. After all these steps are done, what are the next? Before that, I would like to say that we had a crisis in 2019, the pandemic COVID-19. So we were able to face this by constructing oxygen factory number 3. And for more stability, we constructed 2 plants with a doubled capacity. And thus, we needed to have a system. This is a system we can control. On this system, we have the needs of all hospitals. And through our sector and our vehicles, we meet the needs of all these hospitals. In every hospital, we have the networks team to provide to each hospital its tanks. And our team turns the oxygen into gas to provide it to operation rooms, incubators, and emergency rooms in hospitals. We fill in our vehicles with our oxygen and see the hospitals that would receive them. So then there is the transport phase and the delivery of the oxygen. What about the nitrogen and the argon? For nitrogen, for oxygen, first, it has industrial and medical uses, and for nitrogen, it goes to the petroleum companies. It is used as a latent gas in petroleum companies. As for argon, its percentage is less than 1%, so we use it in welding. Thank you very much. Thank you. Dear viewers, We still have more, and this inauguration and tour is going on. There is still a lot to be seen.
مين قاعد معظمنا حيمشي قول انا واجد تعب البلدي ومصر الاكبر متحيز اي امور في حياتك خلي بلدك اكبر حيز راجع بقى رجوك حساباتك شغلك هيخليك تتميز على اي امور في حياتك خلي بلدك اكبر حيز راجع بقى رجوك حساباتك شغلك هيخليك تتميز نام الساعة اتنين ما تنامشي ما انت سنين انت ما بتقومشي احنا بنعمل كده لولادنا مين قاعد معظمنا هيمشي قول انا واجد تعب البلدي ومصر الاكبر متحيز
ومرحبا. إذا نحن هنا في مقر مصنع.
We're here at the premises of Nasr Chemical Industries plant, the liquefied oxygen, and I have chemist Mohammed Mustafa and Mohammed Magdi.
هنا بالضبط بيتم إسالة الأكسجين.
Here you are liquefying the oxygen.
يعني بالنسبة للمراحل احنا بنستخلص الأكسجين من الهواء.
First, we extract oxygen from the air, we compress it, we filter it.
وزميلي محمد مجدي ممكن يشرح.
And my colleague Mohammed Magani can explain to you the production process. From where do we start and where do we end? Our raw material is the air. And our objective is to get nitrogen, oxygen, and argon. How do we get them? We get them through the difference of boiling temperatures. The air goes to the separation towers, and the different boiling levels enable us to extract oxygen or hydrogen or argon. Yes. At the beginning, we are honored to receive you at the main conference center in Abou Rawash. It is surface area 250 fidans. It has 5 production sectors that has 21 chemical plants, in addition to a number of administrative and service buildings. The production sectors. The first sector, chlorine and caustic soda, and it has 4 plants. The second sector, medical and industrial gases, and it has 5 plants. The third sector, pesticides and fertilizers, 4 plants. The fourth sector, aerosols and house pesticides, insecticides. The fifth sector, the 4 factors. You honored us in the year 2019 by inaugurating hyper hydrogen, oxygen, and medical and industrial gases plant number 3, and you are honoring us today by inaugurating the medical and industrial gases plants number 4 and 5, in addition to the tertiary power generation plants. So the total number of plants in the complex of Abou Rawash would be 23 plants. Any orders? Thank you.
تمام يا فندم. رائد زكريا السيد عبد الرحمن.
Major Zakaria Abdurrahman. This is the control room for industrial and medical gas, and it is done by the automated machines and is responsible for the production process in the plant. It controls and handles the products of the factory, as well as the provision of liquefied oxygen to all hospitals. We have 6 individuals who work 24/7 over shifts in the room. 6 monitors are in the control room. Monitor 1 that follows the production process in the medical and industrial gases plant 1, 2, 3. You honored us by inaugurating plant 3 by the end of 2019, and it had a great role in overcoming pandemic COVID-19. Monitors 2 and 3 follow the production process in plants 4 and 5 that we are inaugurating today. Monitor 4, through which we follow the needs of the hospitals and provide them with liquefied oxygen. Monitor 5, that follows the vehicles and transporting the gases, as well as following the vehicles to control emergency, so that we can change the traffic of the vehicles. Monitor 6, we monitor on it all the production units, the packing units, as well as the transport platforms. Any orders? Thank you. The commander of industrial and medical gases, plant number 5. The production process is dependent on separating the main components of the air. Oxygen with the percentage 21%, nitrogen 78%, argon less than 1%. This is done through 4 phases. The first and the second phases are followed up through monitor 1 and monitor 2. The third and fourth phases are followed up through monitor 3 and monitor 5. In the first phase of the production process, we get rid of dust and impurities through air filters, and then air is sucked through the turbines that increases its pressure to 20 bars, and then we separate the moisture and carbon dioxide and nitrogen dioxide through the air dryer, and then in the third phase the air is cooled to reach the liquidation levels that allows the separation through the turbines, and then in the fourth and last phase, air with the low temperature gets into the main separation tower behind the turbines outside, and in it the oxygen and nitrogen and the argon are separated depending on the difference in the liquidation of each one of them. Oxygen is at 120 minus, argon 185 minus, and nitrogen 195 minus. And during the production process, we check the quality of the product through automatic analysis, and in case the sample does not meet the purity level needed, it is dumped. And then if it is good, it goes to the final tank Any orders? Thank you.
تمام يا فندم. محمد مدحت، مدير التنفيذي وحدة أعمال الطاقة والتوكيلات
of Core Energy Company, an Egyptian sharing company specialized in energy and construction. I present to Your Excellency the system of the tertiary power generation plant and the main control room. The objective of the project is to maximize benefit from natural gas through generating three types of energy. Electric, the generators are used, and then the waste is used to produce vapor for industrial processes. So we have three forms of energy by increasing the capacity. The control room has three groups of control units. The group 1 controls the generators. Group 2 is responsible for controlling the operation of the whole plant. And the third has the meters that measure the produced energy and consumed energy. In addition to two monitors, one that has the data and the operation orders for the generators. Group 2 that has the data and operation orders for boilers. And here are the components of the plant. This is the generators, three generators, 9.5 megawatt power, total capacity 27 megawatts. The idea is that besides the generated power from electricity, we use the waste from each generator. Instead of disposing of it, the thermal energy is linked between the different generators to be used for boilers. And we benefit from the thermal energy in producing 5.5 tons per unit with a vapor capacity 16 tons, and part of this vapor and steam is used for cooling the operation processes. By this, we are producing three forms of energy.
احنا في حوالي 5 دقايق هنحاول ندي لسيادتك فكرة عن القطاعات اللي بتشارك شركة النفط في تأمينها عن طريق تأمين الخدمات
that we provide services to through Nasr company. The Nasr company provides its services through 4 main sectors: medical and industrial gases, potable water, fertilizers, and pesticides and insecticides. Medical and industrial gases sector, Nasr company provides networks to hospitals, be it to operation rooms or intensive care. And this is the service provided by the company through providing oxygen cylinders to ambulances and hospitals. And these are samples of the networks. And Nasr company also during the pandemic COVID-19 they are all manufactured in Egypt, made in Egypt. During COVID-19, and Nasr company has registered 10 insecticides. And we provided the petroleum sector with nitrogen and argon. Nitrogen is using in activating the wells, and argon through your directives while construction Zohr well. There is a problem with argon gas, and the company provided argon to Zohr well. And these are photos of the welding that is done using argon gas. The next sector is drinking water sector. The company has 2 wings using alum, and we also provide services to provide the injection of alum to the water treatment plants. And our technicians here manufacture the chlorine cylinders. We provide also the delivery of chlorine to the drinking water plants. And we also provide electricity plants with caustic soda and hydrochloric soda used in these plants. Next, the fertilizers sector. We produce fertilizers. And these are the main acids that are being used for manufacturing fertilizers. So we provide the different acids and the crystals that are needed. And next March, we will produce urea and ammonium nitrate. Also, the company for the major projects is trying to keep pace with the expansion in the agricultural lands through the irrigation systems to register fertilizers that are water tolerant and meet the needs of the agricultural lands. Next is the pesticides and insecticides. We are one of the first companies that produce public health insecticides. In 1982, we produced the first one to treat bilharzia, and now we have different insecticides and pesticides, and we are exporting to Africa, and we helped in combating malaria in Africa, and we produced the pyrosol as well. The company, through its researchers and labs, take a sample from the plants and the soil, and we can identify what type of pesticide is needed by the soil. So you do a kind of agriculture extension, yes, and all this is applied. And the farmers know about this, and they receive agriculture extension from the company.
مرحبا كل التحية هنا من مقر شركة النصر للكيماويات الوسيطة.
Nasr Industrial Company in Abou Rawash, and as you have seen, this important inauguration by adding a new capacity to the production capacities in Abou Rawash complex, and we're talking here about 21 plants for liquefied oxygen, fertilizers, and others. You can see here 250 fidens covering different industrial sectors. And there are products like fertilizers, the separation of oxygen, liquidating it, delivering it to hospitals, as well as nitrogen and packing it. And Nasr company also provides other services and not just the production. It contributes to the networks of medical gases installation in a number of hospitals in the armed forces or in public hospitals. And Nasr Institute